Super excited to be here today. Thank you for having me here at White to Tall Film Festival. I'm Janet Neal. I'm here representing Temasek Foundation. I'm the founder of WeGotThis. It's a youth-led sustainability advocacy movement. I'll tell you more about it in this episode today. I've been on the board with Temasek Foundation for almost 4 years now. And by day, I head corporate sustainability for, right now, a leading e-commerce in Southeast Asia. So my background is always in the private sector, driving change. At the same time, I also felt that sustainability doesn't just reside in companies. It's also about the community, the society that we live in. And in my sustainability world, most sustainability professions would think that all we talk about is sustainability, going green, climate change. But a lot of times outside of this space, then we just wonder if we go down to the streets, to the school or the school club. Maybe many people don't really know, climate change, sustainable development goals, what they are, and I just really feel that, the urgency to mainstream sustainability for the community. Personally for me, I'm born and raised in Singapore, third generation Chinese, and just very fortunate, right? Born in the 80s, so I guess I belong to the Gen Y. And so I had a lot of opportunities thanks to our country as well. The way we have prospered and the doors that open up to us to experience the world. And I remember when I was in my second year in university, I was part of the field operations team to New Orleans in the USA. And back then, that was 15 years ago in New Orleans, and it was a year right after Hurricane Katrina. And at that time, actually even right now, this hurricane has been one of the greatest economic and environmental impact on the society, a very, very costly disaster. And for me, I was being able to be part of that team to set up the whole New Orleans, volunteer for New Orleans. And that was my first encounter with corporate sustainability, that in the US, companies were already leading some of these activities. And I got to go down to the Ninth Ward, and I saw the damage, and it was hard to comprehend, wow, this is for real. Because I never seen anything like the houses without the roof, everything is in a wreck, and people were still living there. And to me, as a Singaporean, I'm like, why people are still living there, right? Why don't they move to a nicer place, right? And when we talked to some of the residents, and I remember one of these Black American, like more middle-aged man told me that this is our home. My father and my parents lived in this house. My grandparents lived in this house too. So we want to stay here because this is our home. Even though we're not sure how we can rebuild this place because they don't really have money. And that moment, it dawned on me the concept around, a house versus a home. And also the fact that in that area in New Orleans, there are actually about 60% of the Black American community that are of the lower socioeconomic status. So as a result, they tend to live on the coastal side of New Orleans, and they were susceptible to climate change because when there is extreme weather conditions, like the hurricanes, right, it will first hit the coastal settlements before it hits the main city. So that's actually 15 years ago, right? The whole term right now, people are talking about they want a just climate transition, a just environmental justice. It's actually just about, people who are in the plight of living in, because of their social economic status, right? They are much lower. They inevitably live in like areas that are not as protected and more vulnerable to climate change impact on cities, like floods, or even like heat waves that we are seeing throughout the whole of North America this year. So that for me, as an economics student, I thought that there was no way of turning back. That economic prosperity cannot come as an expense of environment and social inequality. And since then, right, since 2007, I've just been trying to figure out what is this, right? And I've been talking to different people, and when I'm applying for jobs, I was like, this is what I want to do. Some people ask me to do charity, some people ask me work for the church. I was like, no, I want to do something that is cutting edge, that's like in Silicon Valley, that we can drive change, but with that broadened impact of not just lifestyle change, tech change, but impact to environment and society. So that's how, for me, my personal story on climate and why I'm so big on sustainability. It's a concept that I see it's not just about economics, it's also about our lives, right? And about the environment that we live and we breathe in daily, yeah. So that's my personal story. And when Temasek Foundation, the board asked me, Janet, like, we have been doing this for a while, like within the Temasek Foundation. It started as an ecosperity, sort of like a fund, a sub foundation where we really look into scouting for the cutting edge solutions that are game changing, and looking at the future of livability of Singapore, the region, and also globally. So we invest a lot in startups and projects that are at the tail end of technology advancement or readiness, and we want to help them to go to market. And if they are able to leapfrog from the lab to commercialization, then they really are able to create and disrupt a market with new solutions, and then therefore change a whole different behavior of the society, right? So we do that for about 3 years, and the board thinks that, we think that, we talk to a lot of startups, a lot of founders, scientists, innovators, and we talk a lot about it in the boardroom. Then what about the next generation? What can we do? Like some of them have grandkids, their children, and they turn to me and they're like, Janet, what are your ideas? I was like, okay. Then they say, don't feel pressured because we know you have a lot of things. And I was like, yeah, okay. And then it's like, but you're also the youngest board. Like you belong to like the youth on the board. So I was like, okay, yeah, I am the youth, although I don't think so anymore. So that was how it came about, like 4 years ago, when I started with Temasek Foundation to volunteer. And it has always been a huge inspiration for me in a lot of these projects that we have funded. It makes you realize that we have so many Singaporean, fellow Singaporeans that are so talented. And I feel like we have reached a point where, because the world is so open to us, there's no barrier for us to collaborate with anyone else in the world. So we have seen many projects that are collaboration, like a Singaporean scientist with like American businessman, or vice versa, right? And we have also seen Singapore ideas that are being funded and make a headway in Silicon Valley. So me growing up in Singapore, always having to hear, we are a really small country. But today, this small country has a lot of innovation, creativity, and I think a lot of it is the fact that because we are multicultural and we are open to collaborate, right? So that's one thing about that, and also it inspired me about We Got This. It's not about I, but it's about we, about us. You know, the little that we could do together, but if everyone do like one thing, then we could actually move the mountain together, right? So a lot of people in this space feels that, especially young people, when they see challenges in sustainability, feel overwhelmed. Where do they even get started? And in today, we want to reach out to young people through where they hang out. And today, young people hang out on Instagram, they hang out on TikTok, they hang out on Telegram, right? Nobody hangs out like for me. I used to hang out at Taka, Vice Plaza. They hang out in Instagram. Yeah. So it was a very big passion for me because a lot of times when we talk about sustainability, making change in companies or in the industry, it's also about lobbying, about campaigning, and how do we communicate. So that's something that I learned. I was a nobody when I started, right? Then who wants to listen to me? But I also learned in my own career that when we identify a problem and we research enough on the facts and present like a feasible solution, it doesn't matter like if we have a track record, but leaders would want to listen to what we have to say. Yeah, so there is always a one shot when you get a window of opportunity, and then are you ready to present, right? Are you ready to go to battlefield? So that's taking that a little bit from my career. I wanted to create a safe space for young people in the digital community, giving them 3 things. One, sustainability knowledge, so they can be confident to talk about climate impact on the issues that they care about or they observed. Second, we want to give them digital skills. Yeah. In Singapore, we might call it the future skills, but for the Gen Z, it's their right now, right? Their right now skills with social media, they grew up with it. Video will be the next big thing that is for them right now. Live streaming, coding is also it's not even the now, it's before. They should already have the skills, right? And then the third skill that we really want to give to them through We Got This is community. The sense of what is community, how do you build your own community, how do you build your own tribe? You may not need 1 million people following you, but how do we keep that authenticity, that raw and real connections as people? How do we make friends who can come together with a like-minded view and just to be in your own tribe, you know? So that's the third part. And also creating about the safe space, I think a lot about that because I think today, like young people, when you view like your social media, you inevitably build your own world. It fits you what you're already reading about, and it can also present you, you know, in a way, a bit of a skewed reality about how people's lives are, and that can be quite pressurizing, and it can be quite stressful mentally as well. So I also see that We Got This is a bit of that community where they can go out of their tribe, their social network, or within their own social network to start to see positivity and hope. That through sharing and focusing on doing something about what they feel unjust about, or something that they feel passionately about, that it brings about this hope that there's something that they can look forward to in their everyday, instead of maybe the peer pressure of what's out there, and connecting them with mentors. And that's a very big part of We Got This. Mentors who have gone before us. I had many mentors in my life at every stage. A lot of them is unintended, accidental mentors for me. Maybe they didn't even know they mentored me. But I oftentimes find that just by speaking to somebody who's not my friend, not my mother or my father, it helps, like to hear from their experience and some of the advice and insights that they share helps me to kind of break out from my own approach of doing things or looking at something. And it brings a lot of motivation for me a lot of times. Yeah, so this is what essentially We Got This is going to be for the next generation of young people. It's a place to hang out in a safe place, a place to experiment, a place to have fun, a place to reimagine and try building and stand for what they believe in. And through that, we also give them the skills on how they can move issues, how they can move problems in a positive way with many other people who are on board with them. Yeah. So imagine if I have an Instagram talking about zero waste, and I only have 100 followers who are my friends. But if I have 50 more friends in We Got This, and if each of them have another 100 friends, then we have 50 times 100 community all together, rallying for the same cause. And just imagine how powerful that is, right? And also, in terms of learning, a little bit on experimenting that what is intergeneration learning? That learning doesn't have to be a one-way, where because I'm more senior, I teach you something. It could be both ways, right? And then it could be also peer-to-peer learning. And we want to put youth, put the person in the center of what they want to learn, rather than shoving it down their throat, this is what you should learn. I think the empowering part comes when a person takes charge about what they observe, what they want to do, and the knowledge and skills that they want to learn. And then We Got This is like the community that finds the right mentor, finds the skills trainer, find the knowledge they need, and we will support them to take off from there. Yeah. And since the idea came about, a year, 2000, I think it's 2019, late 2019, I spoke to different people. First was Stephanie from Green is the New Black. And I called her up and I said, Steph, this is my idea, and what do you think? Can we do something with the you version of something you have done, Give me some ideas about that. And he's like, come on, man, let's do it. I was like, really? You think so? It's workable? It's not a flop, So Steph came on board, and then I met another climate reality leader. So we were part of the Al Gore, former U.S. Vice President's program, Climate Reality Leadership Project. And through that, we met so many incredible people, also based out of Singapore, that have a huge passion about driving change. So I met KP, who is the CEO of Grey, one of the leading digital creative advertising agencies, right? And he's having this idea around how marketing can be planet positive. Yeah, can marketing be done in a different way? So he came together and he brought his whole team, to back this up and give it a form, a life, a shape to it visually. And Steph came on to also support in building the programs, helping us with her knowledge and her network, with connecting us to, for example, the UN EP Environment Program. And then we also have WWF, where I met Robin when she first recently moved to Singapore from Korea, and I was based in Korea advocate around like youth and having young people to be able to take actions on climate issues and sustainability issues. And so this is how the group formed, like the four of us. And we spent the past year just really trying to move forward on top of our daily jobs to create this first cohort of incubator program and outreach to talk to different people like yourself. And we were tremendously like delighted for me every time when I speak to someone and I realized that, wow, there is a backing, like people see there's something important about this that needs to be done. Yeah. So I'm so grateful for that. It's my first time to like putting an idea and having to see like, wow, you know, before I know it, in a year, there's about 50 people working in different parts of this WeGotThis program and putting this and making this come to life and staying committed to run this for another like 6 to 9 months. Yeah, I think it takes us back a year back, right, with COVID and how it has changed everything. Many industries have been disrupted. A lot of small businesses are feeling the tension right now, and also have even in the entrepreneur scene, there's a lot of huge impact right there. But at the same time, right, me being in the e-commerce industry and being closer to the digital economy, I see the vast opportunity that have already changed many people's lives. Small, medium businesses, we even have a category called the micro SMEs, even smaller. Lives have been changed all over Southeast Asia, or even globally, right, with commerce and digital economy. And through that, there are also many skills that are in demand, and we're just really looking for the right like people who are able to do it. But I think a lot of it involves pivoting from from other industries, like for example in film, in video production, pivoting to live streaming, pivoting to the digital economy, on digital classes, programs, even like training on equipping people how to then be their own broadcaster, be their own host, and even down to like a bit of the softer skill side with writing, scripting, presentation. So that's a huge untapped opportunity right there. Then there is the whole digital advertising space, which how do you then bring retail from offline to online, and how to create online, offline experiences. As the digital economy flourish, I'm seeing that there's a lot of more vast opportunities for sectors and skills such as video, filming, writing, to have create a niche space to help like current brand sellers, even products, to give them a life, a story, a meaning more than a price tag and a listing online, right? So that's a huge opportunity right there, and I see that professionals like yourself, filmmakers, these skills are highly essential in the digital economy. Yeah, and they're not replicable by AI. It's not something that is a process. It's creativity. It's colorful. Follow us on Instagram. Number 1, WeGotThis.world. Follow us. So I think this community is very open and free, right? Because it's on social media. We're coming up with our first boot camp that is going to be on the first week of September for 5 days, and we're going to equip the young people just with the skill set that I talk about from sustainability to digital, social, and also community building. And a large part of it will be integrated with a lot of different mental wellness guidelines and workshops, so that they also learn, in building something that they're passionate about and starting their own micro movement or micro revolution, how not to get burned out in that, right? How do you sustain? So then that's where the sustainability question comes in. And then after that, they will be equipped after a week to really launch their social campaign on a specific sustainability topic of their interests. And then they'll be paired up with mentors for the next 6 months. During the 6 months, we're going to have master classes, advanced master classes on digital skills, social, and also like some workshops around safety online and how they can manage that. And then also how can they talk to media, how can they talk to partners, the softer skills part. And we are going to have right now, we are actually thinking about putting in some prizes for the challenge, and it will come in the form of experiences. It could be like an internship, it could be a project assignment, or it could be with any of our Temasek Foundation within our incubator innovation network that a startup might offer an experience, or to share more behind of how bioplastics are made, or how do we make cell-based meat or seafood. So to really give them the behind the scenes that solutions are out there, people are working on it, and they can be a part of it, and this can be their future pathways if they choose to. Yeah, so that's how we're going to bring WeGotThis to life for the young people. We hope that in a year's time, you will see at least 65 sustainability influencers that are trained with professional competency, not just with passion, but competency and skills. And I think that's a good marrying of what can be a feasible pathway for what they can choose to be their careers, right? They can decide what they want to do and create that.
Competency and what?
What did I say? Skills?
Competency and skill. Sorry, there was a
Yeah.
no. Then, so earlier on, you caught my attention when you were talking about mental wellness and how these were also offered here in camp. I wanted to see how we can actually, share a little bit about this, because it's still a very taboo subject in Singapore. It's like, can you speak a bit about this and how can you make it such that it is okay for people to talk about it?
First of all, it's even for myself to say, it's okay not to be okay. A lot of times, I think in sustainability profession, we juggle with a lot of changes, and this space moves really fast. Regulations move very fast, global movement moves very fast, and the resources doesn't move as fast. When we look into a company, usually there is one of me. If we're big enough, there's maybe two of me. But we're really, really strapped, like a really lean startup kind of format. So a lot of times in sustainability, if we're not careful with our passion, we just give so much, and it's a little bit like when you have a lot of passion, you become ultra focused. Some people call it obsession, right? And you just give so much to it without realizing that physically, you may need a rest, mentally or emotionally, you're feeling the stretch. And I think when we feel it, it's okay to acknowledge that we're not feeling okay in this moment. It's not, I'm not feeling okay forever. I'm not feeling okay right now. And then what can we do about it? How can we talk about it? And I think this is, in Singapore, I think with COVID, right? One of the things that came out for me that's from this crisis is that we learn to be more empathetic and compassionate. And even in the workplaces, especially in tech, it runs 24/7, right? So we're very careful about like people getting burned out. In the past year, many companies, many people have switched to remote working, but let us not forget that we are still people after all. Remote and a digital interaction is not normal. People need in-person, face-to-face interaction, and that makes us people. And a prolonged time of void with people interaction, it will cause a strain to us mentally and emotionally as well. So that's something that I think even right now we feel like we have kind of coped with this new norm lifestyle. Let us not forget that everyone is still coping this very tough pandemic and mental situation, right, in our own ways. So in WeGotThis, we very intentionally, I have spoken to the team that we want to be very intentional about injecting at every point of the program, even in the principles of how we run the program, to put mindfulness and mental wellness in the program, and giving like guidelines or even workshops around how young people could be more self-aware, and also to look out for one another. And more importantly is that they need to feel safe. They need to feel safe that they have a community and they have people that they can reach out to, and they can talk about things if they want to. When I first got in touch with you, right, Thibaut introduced us. I was like, hey, we really should meet and talk about this, because I see such a strong synergy between WeGotThis and White to Tall film festivals. It's about skills. It's about putting young people at the heart of change, in the heart of positivity and hope. A lot of times, and I think what you do with films gives life, or rather, film gives us a learning that's larger than life. It brings us into a deeper immersion of issues, of thinking about the discourse of certain topics, and it's done in a very creative way. So to me, I think White to Tall films, it's actually a step higher in terms of skills, more advanced, and I would really love for any of our influencers, right, after they go through WeGotThis sustainably influencing incubator, like those who have that talent and that appetite to move into more visual, creative industry. I hope our young book campers, they can get more involved in the film festival. They can help with the different projects. Some ideas could be they could help with the projects, and learn more about behind the scenes, how the stories come about, the issues around sustainability, the culture, the society that they want to bring up. How could they also help maybe from the social media standpoint to advocate together with filmmakers on these topics. I think it's two ways. I was just saying that WeGotThis book campers could be more involved in the film festival. It's two ways too. Filmmakers could also bring to life some of the ideas that young people have already started, whether it's in slow fashion. I know some of the kids, who have come for the boot camp briefing and info sessions. Some ideas are some of them want to start an earth school to really educate the next generation. Some people have the idea of piloting like a forest school. And there are some young people who are very inspired by their moms, who are really great at making clothes, and they use like old textile to create their own upcycling fashion startups, and trying to advocate that in the local community. There's so many ideas, these are just a few that I can name at the moment. So I think, it becomes, hopefully WeGotThis, the ideas from WeGotThis could also serve as an inspiration to White to Tall film festivals projects. Besides being on Instagram, we have also taken the concept around we want to make it safe. We have a community within circles. We got this circles community, and we love to invite all your students to this community, and in there they discuss about different issues. They also present their projects, and they also use that platform to reach out to call for help in any of the skills or something that they need. Yeah. So we want to make it in a way that, because it's about community, it's about young people, it's not about what I, like Janet, or what We Got This team thinks about who should meet who. We want it to be vibrant, we want it to be organic and ground up. So we also leave it to the young people to like find their own pairs, find their own friends, find their own collaboration, and let's see what happens from there. So we have like 2 types of classes that we will run. So some maybe more focus on campaigns, so then it will be open to the book campers themselves because it's very project oriented. Then a lot of the different other topics like safety on the internet or social media, topics like mental wellness, and even maybe general like bigger topics around like whether it's like sustainability journalism or Filming for Sustainability masterclass. We want to open it to the whole We Got This community, because there are also many students who have applied but they didn't get into the boot camp this year. But I don't want the kids to think that, oh, because I didn't get in, right, so nobody cares about me anymore, it's a competition. I don't want them to feel that way. And it's also about during this time, you know, like they could refine their ideas, they could still be plugged into the community and know that many of us here wants to support them to succeed. Yeah, so they could still try again next year, or who knows, like, you know, through this community, they would be ready to start their project themselves.
Yeah.
Climate change is serious, but we got this together.